You have to run on your name. No party can be listed on a ballot. It also then makes it incumbent for you, the voter, to educate yourself, which is also good.
Well, the problem with third parties is they can never build up the muscle of the other parties that are over 200 years old.
And that's because they have to corrupt themselves, Alex. When the two parties make the rules to the game and control it as completely as they do, the only way a third party can survive is by falling to the same corruption. And then you've got a three-headed monster instead of a two-headed one.
Well, you've always said vote out incumbents and don't vote for Democrats or Republicans. But the good news is every incumbent is being voted out in the off-year elections. Every pro-establishment candidate, be they Republican or Democrat, whether it's...
That's a hell of a start.
I mean, well, this isn't just one party's in favor and other party's out of favor. This is a real political realignment, and the media ran a hoax a year and a half ago. They ignored Republicans being booed at town halls. They only focused on Democrats being booed, and they lied and said the Tea Parties were Republican. That then became a self-fulfilling prophecy where Democrats then wouldn't be involved with them. And so that was MSNBC and Fox literally engaged in a staged tag team. But going back to MSNBC, I had them demonize me a few weeks ago. They came down here. Chris Matthews, interviewed me for about 2 hours, and they used about 3 minutes of me, took it all out of context, edited it, and basically said that I'm calling for violence, and which I've never done in any way. And that's the new talking point. And I've just found that MSNBC is the most deceptive and nasty group I've ever seen. And what's your take on that? Because you experienced...
Well, I have a bit of a biased opinion, I guess, because, like I said, they hired me for a 3-year contract, and then when they learned I was opposed to the invasion, because remember, when they hired me, they were not leftist. Keith Olbermann was not a liberal then. They were Fox Light. They were attempting to compete with Fox, we laughingly called them Fox Light. And when they found out that and they had just hired Phil Donahue, and Phil was their #1 rated show, when they found out that Phil and I both opposed the invasion and the war in Iraq before it happened, Phil was removed, the #1 show, and I wasn't allowed on.
And that shows what political whores they are. Keith Olbermann will read whatever he's told off that teleprompter.
They all will. Hannity will. Glenn, I just glanced at a book on Glenn Beck. You know what his claim to fame is? Completely? He's a top 40 disc jockey. Now, why should he carry any credibility whatsoever? He's never been an elected official. He's never worked in government. He never served his country in the military. He hasn't done anything but be a top 40 disc jockey who found his niche in what he's doing, and he's becoming exceptionally wealthy over it.
Well, my issue with Beck is he's flip-flopped so much, and he just came out of nowhere in 2002. And for those of us that have been doing this for decades, it's frustrating to see him turn the entire awakening movement into some type of corporate Republican foxoid animal so it can be discredited and so the movement against tyranny can be basically co-opted. That's my problem with Glenn Beck. I mean, I sent him where the FEMA camps are, the Civilian Inmate Labor Camp Program, the Houston Chronicle, the Wall Street Journal about the FEMA camps. I mean, it's actually hidden in plain view. And on his show, he just came out and debunked straw men. And he's done that. So, I mean, he said Ron Paul supporters may be violent terrorists. And then now he says he loves Ron Paul. So he's always followed that government talking point. And so I know he's not for real. I don't have to even agree with somebody 90% to like them. I mean, I disagree with some of your views, but I know you're for real. I know you can be counted on. I know you really stand for something and are a good guy, at your bottom. But with Beck, he is a...
Well, they're all that way. Every one of them. I learned that when I was doing my show. One of the big fights I had with MSNBC on a daily basis, they would send you what topics you could talk about. And for me, at that time it was Kobe Bryant and Lacey Peterson. Now, those are good human interest stories if you're into National Enquirer stuff. I'm not into that. I'm into news that affects us on a general basis, everyone in the country, in some way, shape, or form. And those types of stories don't. And so I would fight with them every day from on high, saying I'm not doing Lacey Peterson, I'm not doing Kobe Bryant. Well, I don't care to have an opinion on either. Yes, the Peterson thing was a tragic murder, but there were 10,000 other murders that took place.
Well, what it is, Governor, is a feedback loop, as you know. They set the agenda with fluff and crap, because if they ever gave us real issues, and then it would become a self-fulfilling process where the people would want to know about real issues instead of being distracted with, what happened with a murder in the Caribbean or what's going on with a congressman and his pages. People would be talking about real issues, but now that the alternative media has gotten so powerful...
Yeah. Hey, you want to hear what one of the big stories up here in Minnesota is lately?
What?
There's a state legislator who came out a number of years ago that he was gay, right? Which is fine and dandy. I have no problem electing gay people to office. If they can do the job, who cares? Well, the big thing up here now is he was seen going out to dinner with supposedly some porno star. Well, how does that affect any way he governs? It has nothing to do. It's his private life.
Well, they feed us with this propaganda, and so the question I have for you, and we're skipping the break here. This is a network break, so stay with us, everyone. Here's Politico. Lieberman bill would strip citizenship, secretly arrest you, put you in a dungeon. It's moving through the Senate right now. New bill gives Obama kill switch to shut down the internet. And the FCC announces new regulations. They're proposing a box in your house. They're already putting this in Australia, software that blocks what you're allowed to look at and surveils what you're doing. And so what's happening is they know the alternative media is kicking the hind end of the corporate media that wants to force all of this fluff on us. And so they are now moving as a perfect storm, corporate media and government, to try to block the alternative media, Governor.
You know, if people aren't outraged over that, if that doesn't cause a revolution, what should? I mean, that's absurd. And I can't believe Joe Lieberman's Jewish, isn't he?
Yes.
Of all people, why would he support something like that?
It's insane. It sounds like something run out of Stalinist Russia or Nazi Germany.
It sounds right out of Nazi Germany to me. Exactly. And that's what just baffles me. Him, of all people, would be the signer and the carrier of this bill that would give government control over literally, and they could define who's considered good and who's considered bad.
The bill actually says for any intelligence person, for any intelligence reason, it's the Violent Belligerence Act, that a designate of the Attorney General or the President or the Pentagon, that they can literally snatch and grab you and use enhanced interrogation, and that you can never be released, never given a trial, and only an act of Congress can even find out where you are.
And this is going to be inside the United States of America.
This is racing through the Senate right now.
Boy.
John McCain's the co-sponsor, and they have a bill that mirrors the bureaucracy of the FCC and Federal Trade Commission. They have a bill that puts in the black boxes and has cybersecurity take over the internet. They're already building the NSA hubs. They've got one down at San Antonio. When reporters try to go take photos of the huge facility, police come out and arrest them. That's in the news. I mean, Governor, you're right when you say Gestapo. This is a total takeover right now of our society.
Well, what can you say? If we allow them to do that, then I guess we deserve what we allow them to do.
Well, God bless you. You're fighting hard. I mean, you could have just retired and ridden off to the sunset. I know that's what you want to do. But, I mean, here you are fighting the tyranny, and now you're being surveilled and followed around by Homeland Security.
Well, what can you say? It's nice to be popular.
Well, we've only got about 5-6 minutes left, Governor. I just can't thank you enough for giving us this exclusive interview outside of any other interviews you're doing this week or even this.
I'm doing none, Alex. In fact, I'm playing a lot of golf right now on every day that I'm not working, because I'm treating this whole summer as a full work summer. So on days that I'm not working, I'm doing what I'm relaxing to the max Friday. Well, on the weekend, they relax. And so when I'm home now, I relax because I'm now out on the road again. And, I'm not getting any younger at doing all this stuff.
Absolutely. We appreciate the exclusive interview and your time. Getting into some other subjects here, the Gulf oil spill. I mean, Obama and his controllers really have blocked the states and others from creating a...
To me, it's unconscionable. How could an oil company not have a plan in place for a leak? That's the bottom line to me, Alex. They drill all these wells under the surface of the ocean all over the world, and they don't have a clue how to cap one off if something goes wrong.